Welcome to Peter's Marine Service. My name is Ted, and today I'd like to talk to you about safety equipment. Safety equipment is a very important asset to have on board your boat. Could mean the difference between a good day and a not so good day out on the water. The things I'm going to go over with you today are things that are required in the state of Pennsylvania. It might be different in the areas where you go boating, so I recommend that you check with your local areas before you venture out. A lot of the things that we have here are Coast Guard approved and general safety gear. So many of these things will apply to a lot of the places where you go. I'm going to cover three things here today. I'm going to cover signaling devices, I'm going to cover fire extinguishing devices, and I'm going to cover personal flotation devices. In the signaling devices, there's a couple of things. You have visual and you have audible. In the visual signaling devices, they are either daytime or nighttime use or dual purpose. A great example of a daytime signaling device could be something like this. This is a distress flag. You can see it stows very nice and easy. It's very compact. But if you have an emergency and are within sight line of somebody, you can easily unfurl it to get somebody's attention. It even has a distress symbol right on the flag here. That's a nice thing to keep on board the boat. Another type of visual distress signal, visual signaling device, could be something you already have on board your boat, like a paddle, preferably at orange. But the idea here is that if you're in sight line with somebody frantically waving this is sure to get someone's attention that you need help. A good idea to keep one of these on board the boat, especially on a smaller boat. These are great when you're in sight line with somebody. But what if you're not? It's daytime and you need to get somebody's attention. You could also use a smoke flare. I don't have an example here to show you today, but suffice it to say it's a small canister, resembles a hand flare, which I'll show soon. But you pop the cap, you strike it, and it produces a large amount of orange smoke, sure to get someone's attention from a greater distance away. Other types of signaling devices could be for day or night. Something like this, handheld flares. A handheld flare is very easily stowed on the boat. You keep them in a small compartment, if you will, but something that you can pop the cap, strike it, hold it in your hand, and it's a very bright light that'll get somebody's attention that you need some help. But what if they're, again, not within sight line, and you need to get their attention from a large distance, say beyond the horizon? Then you have aerial flares. Aerial flares are designed to shoot up way up high in the sky to get somebody's attention from a greater distance. This is an example of that. It's a pistol. Flares go inside the barrel of the gun, hold it up, pull the trigger. This goes very high up in the sky, gets somebody's attention from a greater distance. Especially at night, the idea is to get somebody to your general location and then the handheld flare to get them in closer. This might be a little bit ominous to keep on board the boat, something a little less of a cumbersome piece to keep on board could be something like this, the Sky Blazer flares. These are nice and compact. They keep inside their own bag. What's nice about this is they're smaller. They don't have quite the height that the pistol has or the range, but what's nice about it is they're small. Pop the cap, strike the bottom, shoots the flare up into the sky. Again, designed to get somebody's attention from a larger distance away. They also come in packaging that allows them to be stowed neatly on board. Notice that they're in orange containers. That's so you can easily see them if the need arises. This is a nice package here where it keeps your handheld flares, your distress flag, and a whistle all inside a sealed compartment. This canister will float. So it's something that's very nice to keep on board the boat. Flares do have an expiration date, so make sure that you look at them. Typically it's a 3-year range on the flare, but make sure that you keep a look at them so you know you have valid flares when you're on board your boat. Those that have expired do need to be replaced so that you're within the legal requirement. Other types of signaling devices, I showed you visual. There's also audible. Audible can be something that you hold in your hand, something that you do by mouth, or something that you have mechanical, powered, like a horn that's already on your boat. That's something that is a legal audible signaling device, even though it's battery powered. A hand type of signaling device could be something like a bell that you ring. That's an audible signaling device that meets the requirement on board the boat. Also, very simply, a whistle. A whistle is something that you can keep on board your boat or keep with you when you're in a canoe or kayak, or attach it to your vest so you always have it there handy. But that's an audible signaling device that does meet the requirement. Other types of things that people like to keep on board, Air horn. This produces a very loud sound. It is smaller, can keep it on board, produces a great sound for getting somebody's attention from a distance. There are smaller ones that stow even easier inside the boat. Those I have right here, you can see. Those are your signaling devices. Other types of things you need to keep on board would be fire extinguishing devices. Any boat that has a gas-powered engine with closed compartments in the state of Pennsylvania needs to have a fire extinguisher on board. Even if it's a small boat, outboard with a closed compartment needs to have a fire extinguisher on board. Boats under 26 feet in length in Pennsylvania are required to have at least one B1 type fire extinguisher. This particular one has a gauge where you can easily see that it is charged. Keep an eye on them as well. Should the charge go low, it's time to replace that. Boats over 26 feet in length in Pennsylvania would require one B2 size canister for fire extinguishing, or you can get away with two B1s. So boats over 26 feet, two B1s, or one B2. Under 26 feet, you can get away with one of these. Although the exception would be if you have a cabin boat, cuddy cabin, cruiser, probably a good idea is to have two on board, one in the cabin and one in the cockpit, just for added safety. Even personal watercraft, PWCs, jet skis, they need to have fire extinguishers also. They are a boat, and they need to have the fire extinguisher on there. They make fire extinguishers for them. They're sleek in design and can easily fit inside a lot of the containers inside a personal watercraft. So make sure you have one on your boat. Other safety gear, the third one, personal flotation devices, PFDs, life jackets, life vests. It's all the same thing. Basically, it's a device that helps keep you above water should you be in the water in an emergency situation. They do come in various types also. The first one, a Type 1. This large, cumbersome thing looks very commercial in its look, but this does have a purpose. If you're boating offshore, this vest here is designed to keep your head above water in rough water. Plus, if you are unconscious, this type of vest, the Type 1, is designed to keep your head above water, face up, when you're unconscious. That's what's nice about this vest. Notice that this vest produces 20 pounds of buoyancy, so in rough water it'll keep your head above water better than some of the others, which I'll mention. Obviously, it needs to be connected to be effective. Most of us aren't going offshore though, and for inland or near shore type of boating, there is the Type 2 personal flotation device. Looks a lot like the other one. In fact, it probably looks like something you've seen a lot of already. These are smaller. They stow nicely inside smaller boats. This simply goes over your head, strap goes around to secure it. This will keep your head face up if you are unconscious as well. But notice this only is smaller, only produces 15.5 pounds of flotation. So this is better for near shore or inland type of situations. It is important to have one life vest for every person on board the boat. One Coast Guard approved life vest for every person on board. That is required. Those vests are great for safety, for keeping your head above water. But many of us aren't using them around our boat on a daily basis. So say we're going swimming or we're going skiing. You would want something a little more comfortable, like this, ski vest. Ski vests are great for, well, whether you're just floating around in the water enjoying yourself, or if you're being towed on a tube, or if you're being towed on skis. This is something that you would wear. Some of them have a zipper. This one happens to have buckles. This is designed to handle the higher impact should you fall doing that type of activity. They are very comfortable to wear. Unfortunately, they do not keep your head face up if you are unconscious. That would require some energy on your part to do that. This will keep you at the top of the water, but not necessarily face up. So that's the difference here between the Type 3 and the previous two types, 1 and 2. As I mentioned, you need a life jacket for every person on board the boat. Additionally, you would need one Type 4 on board, just one. But what this type of flotation device is about is it's something you would throw to somebody. It's not something that you wear, it's something that you grab onto and hold. In fact, the straps that are here are designed just for that purpose, that you grab it, hold it, and it will keep your body up at the top of the water. That's what this is for. This is designed to throw to somebody that is in distress. This is not a toy. This is something that you want to keep dry, keep in a place where you can easily grab it and throw it to somebody in need. That's what this is designed for. not for playing around on the water. Save the other stuff for that. This is for safety. A good thing to do with this also is to have a floating line attached to it. Typically about as far as, you want a line as long as how far you can throw this personal flotation device. The idea is if you throw it to somebody, they grab it, you can pull them in. But what if you throw it and you miss? The rope will allow you to retrieve it and to re-throw it again. You've also seen them in this type of configuration as well. Life ring does the same thing, just doesn't stow as nicely as the seat cushion type does. Another type of flotation device is called a Type 5. The previous 4 that I mentioned, all you have to do is have it and it'll keep you above, have it on, and it'll keep you above water. It doesn't require anything on your part. It's a passive type of flotation device. A Type 5, on the other hand, is a special purpose flotation device. Requires some energy on your part to make it work effectively. Very important that you read the directions on board, read the directions on the package so you know how to use them properly to get the most out of them. This type is great for doing activity on the boat or around the boat, but yet you want some safety in mind also. This is a suspender type of a vest. What's nice about this is fits very nice, lots of freedom of movement. Sailboaters like this for moving about on the boat, but yet having some protection. I like it because when I go up on the deck of my boat to handle the anchor, I have some personal flotation with me also. However, this in itself will do nothing for me if I go in the water unless I pull the ripcord. When I pull the ripcord, it releases a CO canister that'll inflate this vest. At that point then, this Type 5 will turn into a Type 2 and keep my head above water face up should I be unconscious. This is manual. There is an automatic version of this that if I get thrown in the water, it'll automatically open up and inflate. That's an option as well. Safety is very important on board. For me anyway, it's very important as me as the captain of the boat, I'm safe. Because if I'm safe, then everybody else is safe too. If I put myself in a situation that's unsafe and I don't have the proper safety gear, it could mean disaster for everybody else on board. So whether I'm going up on the deck for just to check something or I'm going up to do something in rougher water, I always have a vest on, preferably this one, that I can get the job done and be safe. Some people like the added benefit of having just some peace of mind when they're out and about on a boat or at a dock. This is really nice for that purpose. This particular vest here goes around your waist like a fanny pack. You have all kinds of freedom of movement. You don't have that preoccupation of having something around you. But what's nice about this is it's right here ready for you. However, if you get thrown in the water, you pull the ripcord, it inflates, you put it over your head. Again, that Type 5 then turns into a Type 2 right at that moment. A life vest is only as good as the accessibility of it inside your boat and how well you're using it. If you have your life jacket stowed underneath your skis, way down deep in compartments, it's not doing you any good. They have to be available to grab at a moment's notice. Even having them in this plastic bag, although it keeps them nice and clean, it's really not very accessible. Should you need this vest, it's not in a situation, not in a position where you can open it up and get it to somebody in a hurry. So make sure you take your vests out of your plastic bags on board and keep them readily accessible. In Pennsylvania, those that need to wear vests are those that are engaged in water sports, whether they're water skiing, tubing, anything behind the boat in water sport activities, adult or child alike, needs to have a vest on at that point. Most likely the Type 3 is what will be on board. Children in Pennsylvania, on boats 20 feet and under and 12 and under, need to have a vest on anytime that boat is underway. It's important to have a vest that fits the child properly because an ill-fitting vest will not do its job when that time comes. Many times I get parents that come in and say, well, let's get a vest that my son or daughter can wear for the next couple years, they can grow into. Growing into a vest is not the best way to go about this because the whole reason for having the vest is for safety. Should the child get thrown in the water and they have an ill-fitting vest, the vest is not going to do its job. Vests come in all kinds of different sizes to fit the child properly. They come in all different kinds of designs so the child would like wearing them. So really, please, take a look and make sure you get the proper vest for your child. They even have those for infants also. why not? Take them out in the water too. This is a vest for a child that's under 30 pounds. Has a heads-up quality, keeps the child in an upright heads-up position should they become immobile in the water. So we have all kinds of different things for all kinds of different purposes. As you can see, as we walk through here, I have vests for all kinds of different things, different shapes, different sizes, all designed so that you get the proper fit for your child, for yourself. All different vests here to choose from. Today, compared to years ago, we have a lot of choices that we can have to keep ourselves safe on board. We really encourage you to check all this out. In fact, we even have vests for dogs. Everybody on board should be safe, and we at Peters Marine Service believe that strongly. So please, if you have any questions about any of these things that we discussed here today, please give us a call. We'd be glad to go over all this with you. Again, my name is Ted. I appreciate your time watching, and we really look forward to seeing you in our store sometime. Thanks again.